Let's talk about equality. We tend to think of it as this natural default state, something we're all just born with. But what if that's completely wrong? What if equality is actually a piece of technology, a social invention that our ancestors had to engineer, and that we have to fight to maintain every single day? We're going to explore this incredible idea that equality isn't what we are, it's one of the greatest things we've ever built.
So this brings us to one of the biggest questions there is about us. At our core, are we just hierarchical animals, always trying to climb a ladder and dominate each other? Or are we wired to be cooperative and egalitarian? It kind of feels like it has to be one or the other, doesn't it?
I mean, if you look at our closest relatives, chimpanzees, the picture seems pretty clear. They live in these strict hierarchies that are all about force and bullying. But then you look at early human hunter-gatherer societies, and you see the total opposite. These fiercely egalitarian groups where power and food were shared. So what's the deal?
Well, the answer is this incredible third option that nobody ever talks about. We're not one or the other. We are, in fact, hierarchical apes. But we're apes who, through this incredible stroke of social genius, figured out how to collectively suppress our own worst instincts. We literally learned how to politically tame ourselves.
The brilliant anthropologist Christopher Boehm actually gave a name to this social technology. He called it a reverse dominance hierarchy. And the most important word there is reverse. See, it's not that nobody tries to be dominant, it's that the rest of the group is actively and constantly pushing back against anyone who tries to become the alpha.
As Bowen himself put it, equality is not some passive state of being. It's a project. It's a continuous effort, a vigilant group project to make sure nobody gets too big for their britches. It's an accomplishment.
And this is the absolute key to the whole thing. The equality you see in hunter-gatherer societies wasn't because they lacked ambitious or domineering people. Oh, those people were absolutely there. The big difference was that the rest of the group had developed this powerful social immune system designed to shut that behavior down.
So how did they do it? How did they actually enforce this? Well, they developed this incredibly effective and really low-cost toolkit. If somebody started acting like a bully or trying to be the chief, the first thing the group would do is just make fun of them, public ridicule. If that didn't work, they'd escalate to just ignoring them, right? Social ostracism. And the nuclear option? Simply refusing to do what they said.
And let's be really clear, this system was not about being nice. It was about survival. This quote from Boehm's work it's stark, it's brutal, but it shows you the cold, hard calculus they were dealing with. When things got dire, the cohesion and survival of the group came before everything else, even basic compassion. The system was designed to protect the collective no matter the cost.
Okay, so this whole system sounds incredibly effective, which, of course, raises a pretty big question. If our ancestors figured this out, if they perfected this social technology, why is our world so full of hierarchy and inequality? What went wrong?
The answer, for the most part, comes down to a number. This whole reverse dominance thing works like a charm, but it has one critical weakness: scale. It seems to completely fall apart once a group gets bigger than a few hundred people. Basically, the number of people you can personally know and keep tabs on.
And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. In a small group, everything you do is visible. Everybody holds everybody else accountable. Trust is something you can enforce with a dirty look. But in a huge society, you've got anonymity. Responsibility gets diffused. Someone else will handle it. You can't just tease a would-be dictator out of power. You need formal rules, laws, institutions. The old toolkit just stops working.
Now, understanding this helps us avoid two really big mistakes people make. The first is what you'd call biological determinism. This idea that our modern inequalities are just baked into our DNA. They're not. The second is what you could call romantic equalitarianism. This kind of naive belief that the social tricks that work in a tiny tribe can somehow work in a nation of millions. They can't.
But here's the cool part. The logic of reverse dominance is still all around us. You don't have to go study ancient history to see it. All you have to do is think about your own close group of friends.
Right. In your friend group, there isn't a CEO. There's no official boss. If one person starts getting a little too bossy or acting self-important, what happens? The group, almost without thinking, uses the exact same toolkit. A bit of gentle teasing, a shared eye roll, or just quietly not going along with their bad idea. You're all collectively and cheaply keeping things level.
So what's the big lesson here for our massive modern world? Well, it's a really powerful design principle. If we want to build fairer systems, whether it's in our companies, our communities, our governments, we need to focus on making dominance costly,
right at the moment someone tries to grab power.
And this is the most crucial takeaway. This is not about trying to change human nature or hoping people will magically become less selfish. That's a fool's errand. This is about being smart designers. It's about building institutions with checks and balances and transparency that make grabbing for power so expensive, so difficult, that it's just not worth the effort.
So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. In your world, your workplace, your online groups, your neighborhood, what's one small, simple change you could make to the system that would raise the social cost of dominance? How can you help engineer just a little more equality?